It's been quite a few weeks that have been quite something else, hey? Um, as grateful as I am to be where I'm at right now and looking at the beginning and how it is with making home, I feel as if God is opening my eyes to things that I never thought are happening, you know, around us. Around me, let me just say that, because when I was younger and following a career path and all of that and life as I'd known it's completely different to how things are now. Yes, time progresses, some things change, some things improve, some new things come about and all of that, but pertaining specifically to making home, I'm just thinking, what is this? Um, Not to hyperbolize anything, but I'm just thinking, one of the first things I wanted to do was to remove, that tree stump at the front so that, some work on the wall, the front wall can start. And there was a time I had 100 rands with me. I hate the money system. I mean, I've spoken or I've written even about this on 30 odd somethings on Ages Old, my WordPress blog. That the money system is just not for me. I'm not speaking ill or trying to offend it. I'm just saying it's not my favorite system. Okay, it's not. Uh, it's just the way I am. It's just the way I'm made. But nonetheless, there was a time I had 100 rands with me, and I asked the guy who has those, what do you call those machines? The tree felling machines that they use, that electric saw, or what is it called? The one that's operated with petrol. And as soon as he said okay, then a disturbance came, where someone quickly just comes in and says, hey, no, wait, so that he doesn't come in, and cut that bark, and get the roots out, and just to help me in that sense. So that was that. So what did I have to do? I ended up having to try to do it myself, and I've been digging and trying to see how big it is and all of that. So I haven't finished yet. However, it will be removed and the wall will be beautiful and it'll stand. I believe, therefore I speak. So that was that. The second thing was to remove like the rubble and the grass and all of that. Again, there was a time someone had sent me some money, and I asked the young guy with the truck, would you be able to remove some things for me? Like rubble, like grass and all of that. Long story short, I gave him the address, he came, and he came with someone else now. And then they're like, no, they're just gonna go and get forks, and they agreed upon 250. I had it, and then it's weeks later, they're still fetching forks. Basically, I'm not being funny or anything, but it means they never came back. After saying I must try to be packing some of the dry grass, in plastics. And I did that. But then I just realized, no, man, I can't keep going to buy my plastic, you know. Meanwhile, there's other things that I also need, and they never came back anyway. It's so strange. Like, I'm trying to understand, why would they do that, or why would they say that? And it's as if there's an unspoken something else that's happening. But well, here I am. The rubble is still here in the yard. I've had a couple of people with trailers who just drive by or another one was brave enough to actually park in front of the, in front of the well, not the gates, but I mean, the wall as it is. And I was just like, what is this? I don't know. All I know is that I've prayed for months for this, and I'm here now, and it will be quite sad for some to just think that's something to play with, because it's not. Salvation is not something to play with, and the measure of faith is not something to be made fun of, because there's a God a God we are answerable to. I'm answerable to a God, and there are things I've been praying for, and when God answers, I need to glorify Him. So these shifts and these make as if, they need to stop, because it cannot be a way of life that even if a person gets wind of what another is praying for, and maybe they perceive quicker, what could be the answer, it doesn't mean now you must try and create an obstruction to a person, to me receiving that, or to the one who has been praying from receiving that. I'm not looking to blame, but at the same time, it's been happening for far too long, where I would pray for something, and then I'll see an answer, but the answer will be slightly shifted, from where it's supposed to be manifesting or happening. And then it will leave me with questions. How, God, why did I pray for this, and then I see it next door, or I see it, because I'm not here at making home to covet and all of it, and I reject any suggestions towards trying to make me to covet. That's not the point. The point is to just make home, make the space, habitable, beautiful, pretty, goodness gracious. God is a God of restoration. God is a God of reconciliation. God is a God who is good, who answers prayers. I read Psalm 103 today, and it says, forget not his benefits. Bonga usimangathe mphefumulo wami. Usungakhohlwa imisebenzi yakhe yonke yomusa. So we cannot be having fellow believers, or friends, or colleagues, or whoever, try to distract one from seeing or from receiving those benefits, if you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, why would you do that? Because as a God who needs to be glorified, do you know how wonderful it is to receive your on time answer from uNkulunkulu, and for him to just be given that glory? I think it's the most beautiful thing ever. So now, when one is busy thinking, it's how, why is this? Here's my answer, but why is it slightly shifted? Because it's as if there's an unspoken something where answers are being slightly shifted, as if someone intentionally, tries to put an offset of some sort, and that's not right. Because now they want you to be in a position where now you need to further ask for what you've already asked God for, and He has made freely available to you, and because He's a loving God, But yeah, anyway, I'm still grateful though, and I'm trusting, and I mean, this has been years of building up to this point, months also in Newcastle of building up to this point, and for God to even reveal to me before coming here, Uguti, what is the process, and for him to take me through that difficult period. Okay, it wasn't difficult. It was an insightful, period of studying, tithing, and all of it, only for me to start seeing other things. I mean, there are people who think you're absolutely lame for tithing, or there are people who think, why on earth do you want to tithe? And there are people who look at you tithing, and then they want to do something because they think you're tithing because you are condemned, or because you are fearful, or because. But there are so many other things that are attached to tithing, and tithing is not some concocted way of giving those who are full of tricks and have not the best intentions to think it's okay to do wrong to the one who's tithing, because they don't know what you're praying to God for, or what you're expecting to receive, or in which area you want to see God opening that window of heaven for you. You know, it's really unfair that as human beings we do that. We do that to each other, and that whole excuse of tithe being a decision-making tool of whether you're worthy to get bread a day or whether you're worthy to get a trolley of groceries. Come on, guys. Um, come on, guys. God is so much more, like, so much more loving, so much more giving, so much more gracious. You know, he's a father. He's a loving father. That's who God is. And the blessing comes from him, you know? And really, it was disappointing to see how others use that whole Malachi 3 situation. But anyway, we are diverse. Hence, I wrote in the blog again about the process. The process it has been designed by a God who knows that we are diverse and that we are each different and we each have different measures of faith and we each understand him differently because his spirit is a diverse spirit and we've all been made uniquely so, you know? Yes, there's equal yoking, and there are those who are similar in character. There are those who understand things differently, similarly, and there are those who prefer doing things almost the same because there's that comfort in unity or in community or in all of that. But however, should it just so happen that maybe someone is slightly different, you know, or someone thinks differently, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way they are made. And when we perceive God differently, there's nothing wrong with that either. So, really, I think of the word grace. We need to really ask ourselves, what is grace? You know, and when you are being gracious to someone else in a way that represents how you see God being gracious to you, if that makes any sense, how you are gracious to somebody else in a way it gives a sneak peek, or it gives an indication of what you think grace is, what is being gracious, you know. And it teaches how you are gracious, teaches the other person who is receiving that grace from you ukuthi when you ask God for grace, how do you expect him to answer you, you know? Like your measure of faith is also, you know, like indicated in that sense as well. So really, what is grace, guys? What is grace? Is it like something that we just say as part of, you know, usual conversation, ordinary conversation as churchgoers or as Christians or as believers or as born agains or whatever denomination you want to categorize yourself under? What is grace to you as an individual? You know, what is you being gracious to another person, to another human being, to another person made by uNkulunkulu, to another child of God, to another woman of God, a man of God? What is being gracious? What is just being, you know, saying, I will do this for you because I know what God's grace is. Some have defined grace as an unmerited favor, yet yes, we live in a world that just loves, you know, to attach some kind of merit to everything that we do, you know. Again, as a decision-making tool or as a promotion tool or that kind of a thing. And sometimes people like to feel important and say, you know, I mean, to my own merit, you know, this is why I deserve whatever. You know, that's the kind of world we live in. So when you're being gracious to someone, and with grace having been taught as being an unmerited favor. You know, what does that mean to you? Because it's unmerited and it's favor. And if that definition maybe is insufficient or unclear to you, how then do you define grace? And when you are crying out to God to be gracious to you, or when you are reading the Word of God and reading the parts about Him being gracious, what does it mean to you? You know, we should be having these conversations, because as someone who you know has been a recipient of giving and has been articulating my needs and things that I have a need of, I've been receiving so many different responses from so many different types of people, and some have been absolutely horrendous, and I would sit there thinking, I don't deserve this, you know. I truly don't deserve such responses or such reactions or that kind of a thing. And then I'll be like, it'll be hurtful, yes, emotionally. And after some time, I'd be just like, you know, God, please just deal with this, because I don't know. I don't know what to say or what to do, you know. But nonetheless, it just led me to ask myself, how are others seeing the grace of God, or receiving the grace of God, or understanding what the grace of God is? Because firstly, it's a favor that has been defined as unmerited. If they don't agree with that definition, then how do they define what grace is? You know, what is grace? What is being gracious? What is to just say, I don't know why you're asking me, or I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I will do it for you because I know what the grace of God is. And I'm trusting God to just be gracious to you, you know? Yeah. So what is favor? What is grace? And what makes you to be open to helping another human being, another person? What helps you to be in a space to say, I'm okay, I can trust to say, I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna trust God to see this giving, and He is the rewarder at the end of the day. So yeah, he who comes to God must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. And God is slow to anger. He's full of love, loving kindness, you know, and all of those good things. He's a good God. Let's just be good to each other, guys, you know, and trust when we are extending a helping hand, or that kind of a thing, to trust that God has got you, and God will reward you, because our blessings and our rewards, they do come from Him. Yeah. So making home, I'm still trusting to have a good, you know, good friendships and a good team. But I mean, I'm not rushing myself for that. It's something I really just want to just happen so cheerfully, because I want it to be a happy space, a happy home, a happy house, not one where you're just so burdened working in it. No, let it be something that's, because I mean, the gift of God is, you know, make it rich and brings no sorrow with it. And God wants us to be happy. You know, it's good to be joyful, and knowing that the joy of the Lord is our strength as well. There's a lot of things I'm thinking about right now, but it needs not to be something burdensome to be making home. It is a home that will be filled with love, music, worshiping God, some experiences as well that that I, you know, I look forward to, and a house full with love, you know, with laughter. I mean, come on, come on. There will be music in our home, I believe. We'll serve the Lord in that way, where we'll be sharing stories, testimonies, faithing as we grow, where we will be declaring, praying, speaking truth in love. There will be dancing in our home anyway. I love to dance with our children and a dog who knows we'd be making home. That's a song I wrote months ago while I was in Newcastle, because making home should be a joyous experience. So I'm trusting you, oh God, and I I know that I'm loved by you, and you deserve to be praised by me. And bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Amen.